one, and look at this, and we are live.
Oh, no countdown. Cool.
No countdown for this show. What's up, folks? Welcome to the Sidekick Show. We are live right now. Chris is getting ready to rumble. Rob's double checking some notes. Thank you, Rob. Always ever diligent. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I know there's a lot of stuff going on tonight, so I think we'll try and keep things on schedule and on time for you. Thank you, everyone who tuned in last night to our friends' silliness. That was a lot of fun. I have been crowned the winner of the apartment, by the way. So if anyone wants to challenge me, Megan, who I was supposed to have on the show, but she couldn't make it. She messaged me after and was like, "I knew the answers to all those questions." I was like, "You're a liar!" So she's gonna have to come back and prove it. So I think we'll have to redo it. And maybe we'll do like a best of Ross or something. Scott's already shouting out the armor piercing shotgun shells. Yep. We're gonna be talking about that.
Let me just, I want to congratulate you guys. You, Sarah, and Pat did a great job. I saw the replay this morning, and you did good because it was so funny. You asked a question, did anybody tear up? Now, I'm not one to actually get emotional, but I will say that at the very end, when I watched the reunion, I did feel a pang of what I assume is emotional sadness, because it reminded me when I watched the finale how sad I felt that I had spent 10 years.
Yeah, and it's
getting
ending.
to know these characters.
That's where it almost got me.
Like, it's tough. Like, I felt and all that flood. I think I literally had suppressed it. So that flood of emotion came back during the finale. I was like, oh God. So
yeah. That's exactly where, when they were reenacting that scene and you were realizing this is it for Friends. That's it. That's the last you're gonna see it. You've been watching it for 10 seasons, which is 10 plus years, whatever. I don't know how the math works out. And you know that they have been hanging around for that long, and you see them kind of like start to disassemble the set and start to be like, give their hugs and stuff like that and stuff like that. So yeah.
So no, you guys did a good job. So
thank you, Rob.
Yeah, no worries, man. No
thank
worries.
You, Chris.
Don't ever do that to me again. Speaking of endings, this trilogy will not end because we have John Wick 4 coming out in 2020.
Yeah. John Wick 4 was actually supposed to be out this month, I think. Originally, it was supposed to be May 2021, and because of COVID and all that kind of stuff, it didn't happen. So, and news on it is pretty slim, as far as I know. I think they revealed a new character. One of the new cast members, I think, is an Asian British girl who's a pop star or something like that. So we'll see what her role is. But yeah, details are pretty slim. We don't even know who's returning for the new one. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the news, and then I'll drop a new release that's coming out this week. I didn't have time to pull too much stuff, and we wanted to get straight to we wanted to get straight to John Wick. So thank you everyone for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, we like to talk about new releases at the shop. We like to talk a little bit about the news, and then we're going to dive into whatever movie or topic we've chosen. And this week it is John Wick 3. So if you haven't watched the other episodes, we did cover John Wick 1 and John Wick 2. And if you go further back than that, we did cover Point Break and Speed, which I think we should kind of cycle it back around since we're wrapping up the month of Keanu Reeves and talk about the comparison of him in this trilogy versus his movies from before. So let's go. I've only got one new release that I want to really mention this week, and that is the typical Fortnite release. So Fortnite 0.4 is out this week, so we'll have it on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on shipping again. And these books are doing really well for us, so it's pretty cool. Every issue comes with a digital code, and it allows you to redeem something in the game. I don't think it says anything here what the code is. It doesn't say here. If you look around online, they've got some spoiler sites to tell you what it gives you. But if you are a Fortnite player and you want some cool swag for in the game, as well as if you're a new to comics possibly, or even if you just like these characters, it's actually a really fun read. So definitely check it out. Yeah. We'll have it in the store. You can order it. You can pre-order it off the website if you want to do pickup, or I have shipped a couple copies out around Canada. I guess some places aren't getting them or something like that, but I can ship those out. Usually want to bundle with something else because shipping one comic is kind of semi-inefficient, but I can do that for you if you want. So that's all I want to cover. We're getting a bunch of other new stuff. I just got a bunch of new action figures, so I'll show one off really quick. If you guys are old school fans, this is a Deadeye Duck.
Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah, from Bucky O'Hare. So this is from Boss Fight Studios. So they do like these retro reproductions of these figures. So we've seen a lot with Ninja Turtles and that kind of stuff. So Bucky O'Hare is slightly obscure, but I'm sure some of y'all remember it. So that's all I got for new releases. So Rob, you want to hit us with any news if you should have any?
Yeah, there's not a lot. Last week was an interesting. Actually, the last couple of weeks have been kind of void or devoid of big news stories. That being said, we did recap a little bit of news in our main Heroes World podcast that came out yesterday, so you can definitely check out there. And as you know, we are 3 of 4 currently on the screen here that do Hey, What I Missed, a news roundup. So there is a little bit more information on news from last week, and you'll have a new episode of that, I believe, this coming Thursday or Friday. But very quickly, most of the news I have is going to be surrounding Spider-Man. So this came out late last week. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played essentially Quicksilver in Avengers 2, which was the Age of Ultron, he has been cast as Kraven the Hunter for this as a solo movie in the Sony MCU Spider-Verse that they're doing. So I think that's pretty cool. There's a lot that really came out of left field. Nobody was expecting like him to all of a sudden be appearing in a superhero, reprising another superhero. He's played Kick-Ass. He played like a Quicksilver or Pietro, and now he's going to be doing Kraven. So that came out of left field. Also, in terms of Spider-Man, because of you've got these worlds now, you've got the Kraven, you have Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage coming out this year, you have Mobius, which will probably come out in February of 2022.
Probably.
Somebody has asked, like, is there a connective thread? Like, will these will they connect to the Marvel universe? And apparently there is a plan for these Spider-Man based movies to connect to the MCU. In what capacity, we have no idea. Obviously, they're not going to just throw their shit on the table and say, hey, and lay it all out for us. But apparently there is a plan. What that plan is, who the hell knows? I have no clue. And sadly, sad news, voice actor Paul Soles, he was the voice of the original Spider-Man cartoon, the I think it was 66 cartoon, passed away at the age of 90. He was Peter Parker / Spider-Man in that cartoon. So
did he cameo? Did he cameo at all in Spider-Verse? Do we know that? Or
I think I don't know. Now you're making me read an article real quickly.
Yeah, read. No,
he is Canadian, by the way. He was Canadian, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think he did. But I will say, and you're not hearing it first here, there's been a lot of rumors. Do you know what tomorrow is, guys?
June 1st.
Chris?
Is it?
Tuesday.
Yes. Okay. Well, apparently tomorrow apparently is Tom Holland's birthday, and so there are a lot of
Facebook notification.
There are there's a lot of rumurs that
I usually make a personalized call. That's why to Tommy. I call him Tommy. I call him Tommy. Yeah.
And you're always like, "Hey, Tommy, can you hear me?" And he's like, "Oh, very funny, another Who joke, haha." But yes, apparently the rumors are that Marvel will drop Spider-Man No Way Home trailer tomorrow.
Ooh, all right.
I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I suspect it'll be soon because the movie is coming out in just over 6 months, like 6.5 months. It's December 20th, I think, or something. So I would imagine we're going to get some type of a teaser or a trailer. I mean, if you think about it, pre-pandemic, we would have had a full trailer, and we would have been leading into trailer number 2 by like August or September. So it's fun. We have nothing. We don't have any official pictures. We have no official word on anything. So hopefully, fingers crossed, a lot of people are really expecting a trailer to drop tomorrow. If it does, I can assure you that we will be doing a trailer reaction at some point. So
I don't know if you saw this, Rob, but Sarah jumping in the comments. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
And Scott wants to know what you're drinking tonight. We didn't get to see Rob crack his typical whatever White Claw or whatever the hell it is.
It's some Brock straight
vodka.
Brew.
It's
straight vodka.
Straight vodka.
Yeah. So that's the news, guys.
All right, that's the news. Thank you very much, Rob. And
okay,
there will be more news probably on peace out, Rob. On Thursday for what I missed. So definitely tune into that. Thank you. We're having a lot of fun with that. Chris and Pat did a great job of making some good comedy last episode. So I think that's pretty much it. We talked a little bit about the Friends thing we did. We talked about the Heroes World podcast we did. What did we talk? We talked about crazy stuff during Heroes World podcast. There was a lot of James Bond talk going on.
This means you don't remember. So in the episode that came out, no, you don't. In the episode that came out yesterday, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, it was kind of a cornucopia of topics, a grab bag of topics, if you will. We talked about the Arrowverse and should the Arrowverse just die off? We still need an Arrowverse. We talked about the Sandman Netflix adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Sandman. They released a whole cast list. We talked about that and our thoughts. As John said, we did talk about James Bond and what does it mean with the acquisition of Amazon purchasing MGM, and do they have the rights? As a side note, you might want to tune into my podcast tomorrow when the episode drops at 1:00 because we're talking James Bond, but we're talking James Bond comics. Then
we're talking a full breakdown of the torture scene as well, right? That's
no. We're not talking James Bond movies.
We have to explain why that is an efficient torture method versus any other method that we've seen in movies.
I will. But tomorrow on my show, it's strictly we're talking the Warren Ellis Dynamite 2015 12-issue run, which is phenomenal. And then we did comic book covers and something else. So that was the main show.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So let's. I guess we're gonna start diving into John Wick. So thank you everyone in the comments. What's up, everybody? I see Lewis, Scott, Fraser, Sarah, Gordon. Everybody get in there. Sorry if I missed anybody. I think Jonathan Yo was in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Jonathan was.
Yeah.
People who are obviously not watching the hockey game.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us instead of watching the hockey game, or maybe you have it on in the background. So don't spoil the score. I don't know what.
Well, wait, I don't know what spoiler. Maybe we're in the background. Oh my god.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know how sports goes. I don't know how.
We're a good distraction. You know, sometimes you watch, especially with the Leafs in Game 7s, you get a little nervous, so you want something to distract you. Here we are.
Ease the tension.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're talking John Wick. I was a little held up today, so I asked Chris to pull some of the stats for us. So we got Chris running down the stats. So what do you got for us?
So the movie is called John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Parabellum, I'm not going to say it's a part of a Latin phrase. I won't say it. Maybe Rob knows it and can say it properly. But it basically means if you want peace, prepare for war. And, that's kind of a good synopsis for the movie. Same director as the second, Chad Stahelski. That's good. I got that. Yeah.
He's good enough.
May 17th, 2019
better than me.
was May 17th. That's pretty recent. May 17th, 2019 was the theatrical release date. A budget of $75 million. It did a box office of $326.7 million, and that's both in US dollars. Yeah.
All right, cool. So it did very well. Not a super smash like we talked a little bit about how much money James Bond and some of those franchises make, but I don't think this is a movie that is supposed to catch that many people. I think a lot of people actually watched this series on the rewatch. Like a lot of people didn't even get to see it in theaters. So let's talk a little bit about Rob. Did you want to throw out a quick plot summary, or do you want to just dive into things?
Yeah, well, really quickly, and as Chris said, it's Chad. What's his name now? Chad Stahelski. He actually directed all of them. He's actually directing the upcoming number 4 that will be, like we said, sometime in 2022. But essentially, this movie literally picks up right from the end of John Wick 2, where he is on the run in New York, and a population of something like 38 million New Yorkers. Apparently, 22 million are assassins. And John Wick has to, you get a little bit more of his backstory and his ties to Russia, and you start to understand that maybe he himself is Russian. He essentially cashes in a marker or a chip to allow him safe passage through Russian.
It's like a ticket. It's literally a ticket. It's like a rosary, right? And
yes.
And when he's like, I want my ticket or whatever, she literally like rips it in half. And then And then they like branded it like all this kind of intricate details in the series. And then they use the same cross and brand the middle of his tattoo in his back. So I don't know if that was an empty spot.
That's your stamp. It was just added to his
tickets, please.
So then off he goes to not Monaco, but Casablanca. Thanks. And he meets up with Halle Berry, who is a manager of one of the local Continental hotels. He essentially wants to get to the top guy, the top person at the who's above the high table, to beg for his life, essentially forgiveness. And then that takes him back to New York, where he has a mission. If his life means something, he has to take a life. He loses a finger in the process. And will John Wick survive the oncoming storm brought down by the high table? The answer is obviously going to be yes, because they have a John Wick 4. So there we go.
Yeah. Okay, so cool. Quickly before we move on, because I don't think it's going to come up again. What do you think of the notion of this John Wick wanting to live in order to remember his wife? Like he wants, like this is his whole motivation, because it could be like he could just be like, okay, shoot me now, I'm done, you know. But he wants to live in order to remember his relationship with his wife, which is pretty crazy. Like if that's not like love story material, I don't know what is. And then when he sacrifices his finger, it's his ring finger, right? So he's So I don't know exactly what the symbolism, but what do you think of this whole concept, Rob? I'll kick it to you first.
I don't know. To be honest with you,
you didn't care.
No, like I think we can all. I can't say. I'm not gonna speak for you. I know I really don't give a shit about the plot of this. This movie is really all about the action and the spectacle. I find that this movie is pretty far removed from the events of John Wick 1. Like it's almost illogical and nonsensical to tie this into the events of John Wick 1. And so I kind of, I look at this as being I wish they had separated 2 and 3 away from the events of number 1, to be honest with you, because I feel like they were bound to having to put this thread together, but I couldn't care less. I think it's stupid. I want to live so I can remember my wife. Just die. Like it makes that's stupid. So
well, it's an interesting, like, and it kind of throw back to number 2. I think that, when he goes to kill the woman and she kind of cuts her wrists or whatever. I saw a lot of commenting that he shoots her so that she doesn't go to hell or something like that. Like the whole concept of he doesn't want her to commit suicide. I don't know. It's kind of crazy stuff. So I don't know if.
That was in the subtext of that scene or something.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. I was like, what? I'm like, I did not see that. So I don't know if that is a thing or that's something that the internet has created or something. But I guess the religion is a factor in there. But let's do kind of just overall thoughts of the movie then, I guess, and then we'll dive into our Assassins tier list, and then we'll go into our favorite scenes if that's cool with everybody. I see the comments are kind of getting crazy here, so let's hold off, guys. We got to catch up to you guys. You guys are already like way ahead of us. So let's talk. Last time we kind of ranked our movies. We put 1 on top and 2 basically second place. So maybe we want to do that and add our overall. Overall thoughts. Yeah. So where would you let's go to Chris first. Where would you place the 3rd movie in your John Wick trilogy?
This movie, I guess the one complaint most people would have with this movie is there's a lot in here. There's a lot of action, like not much to kind of breathe, not much to let anything breathe. There's like one action sequence on top of another action sequence, maybe like 4 movies worth of action sequences. To me, I don't know why, but I love that. I didn't like Rob said, what do you care about the plot? You just want to see some action.
Remember when they followed up action with more action?
Yeah. It was great. So, it's either 1 or 2 for me. I mean, as in ranked 1 or 2. The second one probably at the end, at the bottom of the rankings. I kind of flip-flopped. I flip-flopped a lot thinking about, I knew you were going to ask this question. And because just, I don't know, like the first one is so like definitive and it's kind of like concise and this one kind of expands and kind of goes into like, I don't want to invoke the name, but like kind of Fast and the Furious lanes. Like it's having to one up itself every time. And to me, it's right at that point where it might get a little too crazy maybe in the next one, but this one I'm still fine with. I'm gonna say I like this one the best. I don't know. I liked all the action sequences. I liked the innovation and just some of the and it got a lot funnier too towards the end. Like the beginning is really serious business, and then towards the end, I don't know, some of the enemies started showing like these fun personalities and things like that. And even John Wick had some like erotic moments and things like that. Like I just remember maybe we'll get to this, but one of my favorite scenes was like, it made me laugh out loud, was the guy shoots Halle Berry's dog And then she's like, she shot my dog, John. And then he just turns deadpan to her and he goes, I get it.
Dope.
Of course, that's why he's here. He's sitting here. It's because of a dog, basically. So yeah. Anyways, I would say I would rank this one the first. I loved all the action, and I could care less about any kind of story. Like
because you could get into the debate that you can't have 2 and 3 without the lore set up in the movies beforehand. But let's not even care about that. Let's just say, which movie do you enjoy? You already have all the knowledge in your head. All the setup is already there. So which one do you enjoy the most? So let's go, Rob. Where would you put 3? Does it take their number 1 spot?
No, you know what? I still hold John Wick 1 at the top, and the reason being is that at the time we really hadn't. It kind of revolutionized a little bit of the fighting. It brought the spectacle of action movies back to street level, and I don't mean to be punny with that, but it did. We've had a lot of giant spectacle, special effects, heavy action movies, and this kind of brought it back down. It's very much like how you and I have spoken about the first Jack Reacher. It was very much akin to the 90s action movies or the 80s action movies, where you didn't need giant, fake explosions and everything. You didn't have the Michael Bay aspect. So I really liked John Wick 1 because I felt like it was just like it was a reset to everything that had been surrounding it in the years leading up to it.
It's a tighter package. It's a tighter package,
right.
Number 1.
Yeah, and it relied on physical fisticuffs as opposed to green screen spectacles. So I liked it. That's why I hold John Wick 1 number at the top. That being said, number 3 is far superior to number 2. And I wasn't trying to be an ass about it, where I said I wish they didn't have a connective thread so connected to number 1, because I really feel that these 2 movies stand completely apart from what John Wick 1 is. And so if I look at John Wick 2 kind of as like the first movie of a new trilogy, which you could almost think 2, 3, and 4 are their own separate trilogy. I would put, then for me, this sequel of John Wick 3 is far superior than number 2. Do you know what I'm saying? So I love number 3. Funny enough, this was the first time I've watched it since it was in theaters. In fact, I have it on Blu-ray. Actually, I didn't realize I had never opened it. It was still in its plastic wrapping. So we unwrapped it.
Because what happens is you're like, I'm going to rewatch 1 and 2, and then I'm going to crack open this 3 and watch it, and then just life gets in the way, so you don't get to the third one.
Yeah. So, but I have to say, I had the same reactions watching this movie that I remember having in the theater, which is where I'm like, oh, like I get like really animated when like these death scenes happen in these. So, and I actually kind of felt that what we talked about in the first episode, John Wick 1, especially, the guy breaking his neck on the counter, a lot of that was kind of missing in number 2. And I think all 3 of us really kind of talked about there seemed to be like a difference in its fighting. It brought that all back for number 3.
Yes.
Like, number 3 really intensified the fighting. So yeah, that's just what
All right, cool. Let me jump in the comments before I jump in there. So, and also we'll take a break from Rob hitting the table every time he talks. So stop it, Rob.
He's amped up, man. Come on.
Yeah, he's amped up. Yeah. So Jonathan Yo says number 1 is still the best. Let me jump through the comments here. So Fraser says John Wick 3 is the best of the 3.
That's right.
Yes. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through here. If you guys see anything, let me know.
I just see
the third one is definitely the most fun out of the 3, I think.
I'm
watching them, especially watching them in succession. Yeah.
Gordon says 3 and then 1.
Yeah. My man, Gordon. My man.
I think I saw someone else put 3. Oh, Lewis says 1, 3, and 2, which I think that's what Rob's thinking too as well.
John's gonna go way off book and say number 2.
Oh man, Jesse's gonna shout out. I think he's joking. Number 2 is amazing. He's just trying to.
After we jumped on her for like 40 minutes.
Yeah. She was fine. I'm actually gonna say. I think number 1 serves great as a single package. Like it's tighter. It's not as crazy. The storyline doesn't. It's just tighter.
It's very street level. Yeah.
It's just tighter. And then like Chris said, they had to keep one-upping each other. So they just started getting crazier and crazier. And 3rd is definitely the craziest of all of them. And I think I would actually probably choose that as my rewatch. If I could only rewatch one of them, I'm probably gonna jump to the third one and rewatch it because on the rewatch, yes, Gordon, thank you. Nice but on the rewatch and and one of the key points is I really love Mark Dacascos or Dacascos. I don't know how his name is really weirdly spelled. I feel like it's up for debate. But his character Zero is just amazing. So let's jump to our tier list and then okay, it's getting a little after hours in the chat here. So let's go to our tier list and talk about the characters, and then we'll start dropping our any favorite moments and things like that. So thank you everyone again for joining us. Okay. It's okay. Dacascos. I think it's Dacascos.
No,
Dacascos?
that's Olympic Dacascos. No, it's Dacascos.
Dacascos? I don't know. I swear I've been calling him Dacascos forever, but you know what? I've probably been pronouncing things incorrectly because the internet wasn't there and I wasn't
surprise.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So here's our let's throw the tier list back up here. So hopefully you guys can see it all here. I think everything's still in order. Do we want to move anything around?
No.
Do you want to move common? Okay. Well, we'll start adding characters and we'll see if anyone gets moved around. So let's start with
the problem here is we have a D tier that's like reserved for like buffoons, I guess, or people who don't even know how to fight.
Hey, let's maybe just remove him.
And then we can split up these. We'll do it as we go. But yeah,
we'll do it as we go. Let me start with the characters that didn't get much screen time. I was gonna prepare something hilarious for this guy, but I couldn't figure it out. This guy, I believe his name was Edward, with the book in the library.
Oh, he's actually NBA player Boban Marjanovic.
Yeah, played for the Dallas.
He's actually
Ernest,
7'4".
Yeah. I was gonna grab a picture. He's a giant. He's a giant. There's a picture of him holding a basketball, and it looks like an orange.
There's highlights of him. He can dunk a basketball without jumping, basically.
Yeah, he's like the second tallest in the NBA or something weird like that.
Yep.
I don't know if Chris. Yeah. I knew you knew that off the top of your head, but anyways.
Taco Falls, the tallest. Yeah. But
So he opens. I think he's the first fight scene in the movie, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. They go to library.
He breaks the rules and kind of goes after John a little quick, and I'm pretty sure his death is on the nomination board for who got it worse because that was pretty. Yeah, he killed with a book, jaw, and then neck. So where do you think?
Hey, you see his jaw? Yeah. His jaw.
Yeah. One thing about him is he's known as like I guess a gentle giant in the NBA. Very nice guy, like very good locker room guy, and it's just kind of funny to see him like being an assassin. Maybe that's why they casted him. He's such a huge guy, and he's known for being like a gentle giant. Like he got a flagrant foul this year, and everyone knew it kind of was by accident. He basically the guy he flagrant fouled. He sent him a gift after he felt so bad about it. So yeah. Anyways, he's a very gentle giant.
I was gonna say, is that commonplace in NBA to send a gift basket to the player that you flagrant fouled? Yeah. So, anyways, where do you guys like Chris? Since you seem to be the most knowledgeable about this guy, where do you think this guy should go on our chart here? A lot of people have actually thrown D. Oh, actually, it's all Gordon. Gordon put him in D tier like 8 times. Scott seems to match him. Yeah. Lewis says E class. So this guy, but he's humongous. He's a giant. He just was inefficient with his use of power.
Yeah, John Wick kind of dispensed with him rather quickly, but no more quickly than like anybody but the sumo guy who took like we said 18 shots to
yeah. So like should we put all these guys down here now? Now we got a vacancy down in D.
I like that. Like I don't mind that.
Does the reach it?
He is dispatched just as quickly as all the rest. I guess the thing that would rank the sumo guy over is the amount of shots he took.
That he took to the head, which is one more than everybody else.
Yeah. What do we think, Rob?
Rob, how do you feel?
Yeah, sure. I don't really care. I don't care. Sure. Yeah, he's fine.
Do you want to move any of these guys up more?
No.
Do
No.
Okay, so let's. How about this guy, Jason Mantzoukas, the TikTok man? He didn't really do anything, but I feel like he's got an aura.
He just said TikTok, Mr. Wick. TikTok.
Yeah.
And then he put him in and at the very end, he threw him into a shopping cart, and that was it. He didn't fight. He didn't do anything. I don't even know why he's there.
All right. I just thought it was cool. He got his own poster. He had his own poster, I think.
I know, but that's I think because it's Jason Mantzoukas. I mean, I think he's very well known comedian.
He is.
If you're a fan of the League, so he was also he's voice actor on Invincible, right? He was Rex Splode and everything else. So and in Big Mouth, as Gordon's saying, he's also in Big Mouth. So at any rate, that's why he got his own poster. My understanding is that he plays a more prominent role in John Wick 4, but whatever.
That would make sense.
Okay. So he might come up. So he's kind of a mystery still. So
yes.
I'll just take him off for now. Whatever. Let's go with should we go
twins?
With you want to go with the twins? I think they were called Shinobi 1 and Shinobi 2. I put them together because it seems like they didn't do anything unless it was together. I don't know if they ever got any.
They're like the Wonder Twins.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But they whoop John Wick's ass. In some great scenes, and I heard the rumor is a lot of those fight scenes, especially towards the end, some of those things were not scripted, like Keanu kind of like getting up and them kind of like helping him up and stuff like that. I heard that wasn't fully scripted and that was just things that were happening because they were just doing the scenes over and over. Yeah,
that added a huge like comedy element to that sequence. It's kind of cool. Like one of these guys I recognize from The Raid, I think. The size difference between them and John Wick was like massive. So it was cool to see how they got around that size difference and they did it in a creative way. And I thought that was a good scene. And they actually don't get murdered. They
get so much respect that basically John Wick just knocks them out, and he's like, he's saying the key phrase that I guess every assassin says to every other assassin when they're leaving.
Seeing you.
It's the be seeing you, and then they just kind of go like, okay, that's good. Let's lie down.
I'm tired.
Nap time.
Yeah.
When you guys when the glass room first shows up, did you just look at it and go, yeah, everything in this room is just gonna get broken? And they proceed.
Yeah, I was gonna count how many of those stands he got kicked through.
Yeah.
And I was like, kick that last guy through it, and I was like, yeah, you take that.
Well, how many crystal skulls do you really need? I mean, come on.
that building, man. I imagine like just underneath it is like a pile of dead birds that fly into it because it's so clear. Like, if you guys are walking in that room, how many times did you run into a wall? Like seriously, those were like there was like a wall, and it made no sense architecturally where these walls were. They were just there for convenience sake. Like, well, this shot, we're gonna have a glass wall here.
But the entire building made no sense. I mean, the burn room where they were burning, they had the bodies like with like 23-foot ceilings in the basement. I was like, what are you talking? Like, what is this building, the iron building that it's, showcased after, the iron, whatever. That's not that tall. Like you've got these like 25-foot ceilings and all this massive expanse. I was like, come on, like these sets are getting out of control. But
at the end, that fireplace on the roof, man, that was crazy huge. That fireplace on the roof. I wonder if something like that actually existed. If they built it for the show, but that was crazy. Or so the movie. Sorry.
I think Gordon and Sarah have it on their roof.
Yeah,
they have it on the top of their penthouse where they live.
Yeah,
custom. They custom built.
Okay, so what's next, John?
Okay, so where do these guys go though? Do you think it goes at the end of A? That looks good. Right here,
I'd put them ahead of that. I forget her name. It's been like what, a week since I watched the first one.
Perkins.
Yeah. Hey, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave them there for now. If anyone, Jonathan Yost saying B tier. You think maybe they should go down, or you think they were more?
No. I think they were a great because they worked in tandem. They were a great opponent for. They killed a lot of people. They were his students.
Yeah. So, one thing this movie did was establish these guys as real, true, like I guess badass villains. They had a lot of sequences of them murdering people, unlike what we complained about with Ruby Rose. Like, what was the point of her? She kind of flopped, but I like those sequences.
Yeah, maybe she was not considered a boss, I guess is what we're thinking. All right, so let's go with this guy, the concierge at the Continental.
His name is Sharon.
I think it's Sharon. Yeah, which has some Greek mythology connotations. He's the one you pay to bring you to the land of the dead or something like that.
He was cool. and props that he is operating a firearm in an action sequence wearing glasses, because you don't see that much. And
Yeah,
you can tell I got glasses on, and I respect that.
yeah. And he was rocking the full. I think he takes his jacket off at one point.
Yes,
but
he does.
Also rocking the full suit like John Wick, and a lot of these guys are wearing their ninja outfits or tactical gear. So where do we think? Like, definitely, we're probably going to need your help in the comments for this one. How good do you like? He was head of basically everything. Basically, when Winston goes, I know you're going to do right by the Continental.
Yo, a lot of those concierges, the guys in the suits, the other concierges get murdered very quickly.
They got super killed.
He looked like he was the only one that survived. So I would put him really high. I would put him in A, I think. But, he didn't really show any weakness in any scene, really.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Rob? There is a great scene where he's got the shotgun, he's shooting people, and he actually like rifle smashes the guy. And he does a lot of work. He puts in the work.
Yeah, he does. He was also very well versed in all the different types of ammunition and weapons. So, I'm okay with an A.
I put him at the top of A.
You put him at the top of A?
Oh yeah.
You think he could have taken
over
this
the
guy?
brothers?
Oh yeah.
I think they would have beat him. I think they would have beat him for sure.
No way.
I think his hand-to-hand combat probably was not as strong.
We didn't get to see any of that, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, we didn't get to see hand-to-hand from what we saw. But yeah, when he suggests the gun change to John Wick. And then one of the great scenes is after they fight the first batch of armored guys, they all go to the weapons room, all like kind of
tired,
not even scared, not even like worried, but they're more of like frustrated. They're like annoyed. They're like, oh, we gotta change the ammo, and he's like pulls off his jacket, he grabs the shotgun shells, and he's like armor piercing.
Which was it's such a funny scene because Sharon is like he's just loading him in like normal, whereas Wick, he's like like doing this thing. He loads him loading into the bullet, and he's like throwing him in. I was like, "What's he doing, man?"
Yeah, he was doing like a massive like slide them all in reload type thing. So we'll put Cher on there. I really like that character, so I hope he is in John Wick 4. So let's go with that. So let's talk a little bit about Halle Berry. Halle Berry, I think, did all her Sophia. Yeah, I think she did most of, or if not all of her own stunts. She wanted to do it herself. She wanted to prove that a woman and someone of her age could do it. So, and she looked good. I thought she looked good, and she does not. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she has an action pedigree in movies. Really, I remember her. There was a movie with John Travolta and Hugh Jackman. I think.
Yeah,
was she in that movie? Swordfish,
yeah, Swordfish. But she was. We talked about this, John. She was also in Die Another Day with the last James Bond. With your
James Bond and Catwoman.
Yeah, Catwoman. Hello.
And she goes down to D.
I think if you include her two dogs, those are really powerful weapons she had. She's got to be an S. I think so.
Yeah, she's up here with them. You think?
Yeah, but you know what? See, I actually don't. I got to tell you, this is probably one of the weakest aspects of this movie for me is I don't understand the purpose of her inclusion.
I think it was world building. I thought the same thing. And originally, I think when I saw this movie, because it's long, it's kind of long. So you're like, oh, maybe they could have removed the Halle Berry thing, and it doesn't change the storyline really much. But I think it goes like John Wick just does this. It world builds. Maybe it could have been a shorter scene. But that was some incredible stuff they did with the dogs. Like when that dog scales, like I don't know how tall that freaking building was, but it just literally goes like I think it jumps off her back and goes like just straight up a building. That's terrifying.
So but then why?
Nuts, So
those dogs love to eat nuts.
But then why? Them roasted nuts. Then why is she? That means if this was a dog training competition, she would be an S. But we're all talking about the great kills that her dogs did, and so that's great.
No, she was holding her own though.
Her and John Wick were holding their own, I think, against that room full of like infinite number of guys. So I just think she
did some very similar things to Wick too as well.
Which let me just say
knocking a guy down and reloading.
But that scene on the roof with Barada, who he was also from Game of Thrones, just so we're going to go back to season 1. The entire time watching this, I'm thinking to myself, you have an entire office outside in the open. Like, there's no, like, what if it rain? Like, you got all the desks you got to bring back in. You have all those cabinetry. Like, what is, like, it looks great, but it's not practical. Who has an office outside where it could potentially, now, I know you're going to say, wait a minute, this is the desert, Rob, so there's not going to rain very often. But I still think you're out in the elements. It just seems stupid that you would have an entire office out like that. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think if Common's going to be an S, you got to have Halle Berry an S. I think.
Yeah, no. She was. I feel like her skill set was very similar to John Wick. Almost maybe that they're going to reveal that they either have trained together or he trained her, because a lot of her movements and things like and in real life she trained at the same facility as Keanu Reeves. You can see the footage, and she looks really good. So I almost want to say she's probably going to be stronger than Common.
Yeah,
would be my or Cassian or whatever his name was. And a lot of people mentioned the dogs. I didn't want to give them a separate thing because it feels like they didn't do anything on their own, but they're basically weapons of hers.
If you're including her with the dogs, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Her ability to kind of control those dogs is her skill. I would say. So
well, then going by that, Cesar Millan should be a super assassin then. But I digress. All right, what's next?
Actually, I'm thinking about it, and maybe we should, because we have so many people at the top there. Maybe we could put B into C, and then move these guys down here. Maybe move some people down, and then we can have a little more debate here at the top.
This guy's still.
I would keep those guys in A. I would keep those guys in A. Yeah, like that, kind of like that, maybe, or maybe put Sharon in A, but just have another tier for these boss level characters. Yeah, sure. That looks fine.
Something like that. Yeah. I don't know. So I'm just moving things around, folks. So yeah, if you have comments or objections, please let me know. And then we'll go to our man here, the nephew of the Iron Chef himself, Zero. What a great character. I think we're going to get a little more into it when we talk favorite scenes and stuff like that.
What did you think of his turn? Like, he looked like a serious guy. Didn't say much. He was murdering a lot of people. Yeah. And then when they sit on the couch, he makes this like sharp comedic turn to like basically a huge fanboy of John.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that?
I was going to throw that in as like one of my favorite scenes. There's a completely empty room. There is like a couch and a bunch of chairs. John Wick sits down and Zero sits right next to him, which is hilarious. And then John Wick gets up and moves him to that chair, and then he turns to him. He's like, "Oh, big fan. This is great. You are living up to everything I thought you would be." And I think at first, like first time I saw this, I was like, "Oh man, why'd they have to do that?" But I think it makes the character so much different. It adds that much more kind of punch to it, that he's also this kind of like wacky dude. That kind of like knows exactly kind of what he's doing. Like he's kind of like almost like a Marvel character with the jokiness, but he didn't really show it. He didn't really show it until
he's like a big kid. Like he was just like he met his hero kind of, and he was just like
he didn't. John, he doesn't show
like,
it off.
Like he kind of wanted to impress him. Like, hey John, look at that! I killed that guy. Like kind of thing. Like
I always took it though as that it was more of he was mind screwing Wick. Like
maybe.
I'm sure he had some admiration. But I think he was trying to throw Wick off, like by being just so bizarre. Like they always say, the crazy ones are the worst. Like you just never know, weird, right? So yeah. Okay. So where are we putting him?
Yeah, he has to go up here.
But was his fight scene really that impressive? If you think about it, like the twins kick the shit out of Keanu, and then he drags his broken, bruised body up to the next guy who's just doing a lot of this behind the walls. They have a few fight scenes, and Wick takes him out pretty convincingly with the sword into the chest, which seems to be like his finishing move. Like if this was a Mortal Kombat, doing that in a sword into a guy's chest seems to be his finishing move. So I don't know. I mean, yes, he was a. He took care of business when it came to a lot of the other deaths throughout the movie. But as a final boss, he wasn't as effective as the twins.
I would say if you go like his fight mano with John and then Cassian's fight mano. Actually, Cassian probably did better, I would think, mano a mano with John, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they intended. They wanted this guy to be like John Wick A1, John Wick 1, this guy 1A kind of deal, but it didn't. If you really analyze it, like Rob said, it's he kind of just gets dispatched like everyone else in the end, and not with too much difficulty. Like he doesn't. Does he land a slice on John or anything like significant?
I'm trying.
Yeah, see, we don't even remember.
I think he kicked him through one of the 902 Detolf cabinets, but
yeah. I should have counted how many of those he went through. I figured.
I wonder if when they rebuild that portion of the Continental, is like maybe they'll be like, yeah, you know what, this glass thing, maybe we're gonna use aluminum or marble or something else. This is too stronger. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, it fits right in with the whole aesthetic of the movies, right? Like the previous movie they had the mirror room. This one now they have the glass room. So we'll see. Okay, I'm happy with this right now.
I feel like he had. I feel like he did. Like, okay, so he did bring up the point as like, did he score a hit on John Wick? But he basically had John Wick by the neck of the knife, and he backs it off because he's like kind of like making a sport of it, right? So he could have, like, when I was watching that scene, I'm like, yo, he should have just killed John Wick here because he's about to get impaled by a sword because he's screwing around. But I guess that could be a flaw in his character as well. He thinks he's so good. Man. But yeah. So
John Wick,
so we'll leave him at
moves like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll leave him at the bottom here for now, folks. Even though I think he was definitely one of my favorite characters because of that quirk. And I legit did think when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, maybe we should have just kept him serious for the whole movie, and he just should have been a badass. But then he would have just been like every other character. He would have been the same as this guy, right? Same as like whoever. But they added that little quirk, that he's like this fanboy. But I thought that was pretty cool. So thanks everyone for participating in that. So this is our tier list for now. I'll post it up and we'll see. I guess we'll dust it off when John Wick 4 hits, or if the Continental show ever materializes. One
thing I want to address is right before that scene that where they sit on the couch, kind of one big flaw in the movie, I guess, that doesn't make sense, is that John Wick races to the Continental and then he puts his hand on it, and then apparently he's in Sanctuary. But
the free zone.
Like he's what's it called? Excommunicado or whatever. Like, what's the point of excommunicado if you still can't kill the guy in the Continental, right?
But that makes but don't forget sense. Though. But don't forget is that he was on his way though to take out Winston.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of almost given a little bit of a pass by the head of the high table. So I'm assuming in Wick's mind, his status of excommunicado was no longer relevant, and that's why he
done it in that way though. Like the way he said it was just, "I'm on here," and then he's like going to kill him. The guy's like, "But he's excommunicado." Like they didn't really establish that that's the reason why they were killing him. They could have just easily threw a line in there to say like he has a special exemption or something. But the way they made it, they framed it, it was like, why even excommunicado? He could have just stayed in that. If that's the logic, he could have just sat in the Continental after he got excommunicado and just sit there, and no one could have killed him, right?
Well, no, because he left. Remember, I actually that one scene. I hear what you're saying, but for me, as a fan of wrestling in the '80s, that was the equivalent of a foot on the rope, right before that 3 count. The foot,
just wrestle the whole match. Yeah, wrestle the whole match with your foot on the rope, and you can survive.
And you're saved from a 3 count. So I was like, aha, yeah.
But yeah, that was the big thing that stuck out like a sore thumb to me. They could have easily just, like you said, just kind of maybe did one more line of explaining that. But the way it was framed to me was like, what's the point of an excommunicado? That I thought that was a little bit weird. They should have just
I had that criticism of the first movie where it's like I keep wanting to call it Terra, but Perkins breaks the rules, and it's like, how would that be worth it? But I guess breaking the rules of the Continental would result in the Continental coming after you and shooting you. But I guess the fact that John Wick killed the high table guy is what makes the excommunicado so crazy, ridiculous. But it is kind of weird that just I'm touching this step. Should be like, well, you can't damage that hand now. Everywhere else is fair game.
But it was kind of funny. There are scenes throughout the movie where that after he loses his finger, you can still see it in certain scenes.
I wonder if they're going to regret that decision, if he's going to have to wear a little sleeve on his finger to make sure they like CG it out, or I don't know how many more movies they have planned, or maybe he'll get a robot finger.
Yeah.
Later on. But okay, so that's our tier list. Do you guys want to do favorite scenes, or do you want to nominate our worst or most hilarious or ridiculous death?
I'll just come out and a few things that I really liked. First of all, I like the library scene. That was probably the best scene shot in the library, except for the 1984 Ghostbusters movie. I'm also I was a big fan of the entire knife fight scene with all
the antique knife store,
the antique store. That to me, like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the hallway scene in the first Daredevil TV series, the hallway fight scene, where it was just like, holy crap, right? Like, it looked like it was all one shot, and you knew that they had made some edits, but it was just so engrossing, that whole entire scene with those knives. And just, like, I was laughing. Maybe I'm a psychopath, but I was laughing. He's pulling the knives out, and he's throwing them at the guys, and he takes it out, and then the other guy is sitting there, he's got a knife, and he grabs the axe, and he throws it, like, it was like overkill, right? Like, the whole, and him looking, and then like, right preceding that, he goes and he gets that gun. He builds
that gun for one shot.
Time taking apart all those gun parts, putting it back together, listening to the chamber as it's clicking, puts the one bullet in, boom, and then he runs off. I'm like, you've got a wall full of bullets. Why are you not grabbing more bullets?
I think that was the point, to subvert your expectation in that sense.
So I think it was like that's a guaranteed one kill, right? You do that. Like, that's cool.
That whole sequence, that whole first 20 minutes is pure cinematic gold. Yeah. Like, that is cinematic orgasm on screen. It was phenomenal. The middle part of the movie, again, it kind of falls a little bit for me, especially the hunting the guy from Wonder Woman out in the desert. Where is he? Why? That made no sense. And then the very end, the end scene, like the Matrix scene, where he makes a shout out to the King of the Bowery, right? To Lawrence Fishburne. He goes, "What do you need?" He goes, "Guns." Lots of guns. I was like, and when he comes back, and they, and they're triple tapping these guys in this armor, he's just lifting up their face masks and just shooting them in the head. So that for me, the beginning and then close to the end, that is just pure gold. I loved it all. I
think you're right. That beginning, and a couple of people mentioned in the chat, I think Gord's especially pointed it out, that is a very impressive opening. Like the whole knife scene into. I do question what exactly the plan of the motorcyclist was, other than just getting blasted in the face. I'm like, you could have just followed him from a distance. They didn't try to kill him. Because I think the order is to bring him in alive or something like that. That's why no one was like just straight up trying to murder him. Chris,
Scott's right. That horse kick, death by horses was, and he did it like 3 times.
It was a double one that was killer. The first one, the guy just launches. Yeah. I think it was the second or the third one where the guy gets a kick, he falls down, and then he gets kicked in the face again to death. That one's a pretty good one. But that knife scene had probably all the most brutal deaths, because getting a knife in the head can't be nice. And then there was one where he does like a 5-hit knife combo on one guy. He goes 5 knives in it, and then he ends it with another one to the head. I was like, okay, that guy's super dead. Like, it was like straight from a video game. Like, where are you getting these knives from? But the knife to the eye was especially brutal. In terms of I'll just jump ahead because you were gonna ask me my favorite one was. I kind of agree with Rob, but I'll say that sequence in the Continental when he has to figure out, like, headshots aren't working. Like, what are you gonna do, John? Like, he has to figure out ways to do it. And then my favorite part of that sequence, and we already mentioned it, was when he goes back, and I love a good shotgun scene, and he gets the Benelli M2, that pump action shotgun. It has about 7 shots in it, and he has to load, and it's a single reloading, and he's doing it with like incredible efficiency. And like, I like that whole sequence when he's like shooting the guys with the shotgun. I thought that was great. He kind of wastes some ammo on one. I think one guy was falling and he shoots him 3 extra times. Like, why are you wasting your ammo, dude? It's like 5 minutes. But I know
you've got that little machine on your side belt. Like, that's like the old change machine for those who used to deliver papers in the 80s. Like, I got some change for you, sir. You've got your shot. You're only carrying 7.
The reloading technique, I was really impressed because I know Keanu Reeves does his homework and he does his training, and that technique was like legit. Like, if you need to single reload a shotgun, that's probably the fastest way to do it. And it was really cool the way to put that together.
Yeah. There's even one scene where he's with Halle Berry and he basically has a race with two other guys to see who can reload the gun the fastest. And I'm like, it'd be funny if they're basically on set and he and he legit was racing those extras or stunt doubles and was like, let me actually legit beat you guys. That's kind of like a thought in my head that probably went down or whatever. Gordon does talk about how impressive that rebuilding of that gun was. He actually mentions it, that all the 4 guns that he got all had 4 different issues, and he assembled them into one single working gun that got the one shot off. So let's kick it to let's kick it to our worst death. My favorite scene was that scene where Zero basically sits right next to him, and it's freaking hilarious, and he just turns over and he goes, "Oh, big fan, and you are living up to everything that I imagined. This is great. This is great. Isn't this great?" Like it was just really funny.
Even after he beats up the twins and he's above him in the glass, and he's like, "Yeah, that was really good. I like that. That was cool, man." He was like, He's like, you've beat all my students. If I wasn't here to kill you, we'd be working together or something like that. Exactly.
So,
even when he's stabbed, he's like, He's like, "That was a good fight, man." Right?
He goes, "Just give me a second to catch my breath." And I don't think so.
He's like, I'll be right behind you. And John Wick's like, "No, you won't," or something like that. So in my head, I really hope that he actually lived through that, and maybe we'll see him again. But I don't know.
I don't think
it looks like John Wick is murdering his guy. So let's jump to our nominations for who got the worst death. And there's a couple in the chat already. The double horse kick is mentioned. The knife to the eye, which I think is going to be hard to top. And I was surprised that scene went on for that as long as it did. I was like, they're really going, they're going to show this whole thing. All right.
It's like most movies are like, it's implied the knife went in the eye, or you only see the aftermath. That was like, that you get the whole thing. That was like, you want to see this thing go in the eye.
And it was so zoomed up, right? Yeah, exactly. Usually,
I was going to look up how they did that. I wonder how they did it. Like a prop.
It was digital. It was just digital.
Green screen. They probably had no blade, and then they put it in after. Yeah. Just imagine how scary that is to film.
I remember. I think Mission Impossible 2, the Tom Cruise one, where he's pulling a knife out. They had the knife on like a rope, and it was like set to a certain height. And I'm like, dude, Tom Cruise, you're a crazy motherfucker, because they would just pull the knife, and then wherever the string stopped would be like where he's and he's like hanging off, and I'm like, God damn it, dude, take it easy, chill out. We want to see more movies.
Yeah, you're only at number 2. You have 6 more to go.
I know, dude. Don't cap out now. Jeez.
Yeah, all right. So let's and I think we did mention and in the library, the guy gets his jaw broken and then gets his neck.
And then the horse kicks. I think.
The successor. I don't know if you guys have any other nominations. Let's Rob, you got anything else that we missed?
No, I think that those 3 are probably like the most. Like that whole sequence with the knife stuff, they all get it pretty bad. I would say
there's a lot in there. Yeah, there's a lot of like to the skull, to the head, to the like. Yeah. So I would. I mean, the most the most reactionary ones were the library with the book. Yeah.
The knife to the eye, and the horse. Those 3 are the ones that made you go, oh, like this. So for me, I'm gonna go with the library, because not only did he break his jaw, and his jaw is now to the side, like, oh, and he gets him in the neck, and he flips him over onto the counter, much like he did in John Wick 1, and uses the book and just bends the guy's neck back. And that was like,
and then he takes the book. He takes the book
and he puts it back
exactly where he got it, which is great. I'll throw in a couple other ones. So I actually had more of like funny, like those guys who he fights. I think he runs their necks across their own swords and stuff like that towards the end. Those guys who kicked him through all the glass. And shout outs to the ballerina pulling off her toenail. I think that was definitely, I don't know if that was the worst death, but that was just a gruesome scene in the movie.
That was Angelica Houston, eh?
The woman, right?
That's Angelica Houston.
She was good.
Holy moly.
Yeah. She was good. I really liked her. I really liked that character. If anyone else has a death that we missed, definitely please post it in the comments if we missed anything. But 2 other ones that I did want to mention. There's a scene where Zero's guys are murdering all the who's Lawrence Fishburne's guys, Morpheus's guys, or Bowery guys, and out of nowhere, this guy is like getting a gun from a locker or something, and then this sword just comes down from above and snaps him in the head, and it's just out of nowhere. There's like all shadows. This guy just kills him out of nowhere. And then there's another scene where they fall in the jacuzzi or the pool in the Continental, and this guy tries to shoot, and he's like, "Yeah, I got you, John Wick," and he fires the bullets, and the bullets go.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
John Wick just swims over and just blasts him in the neck, and I'm like, "Oh, you thought you had him? You were like, it's good, I got him." And for some reason, water causes friction, which causes bullets to go like this. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, but every other movie where a bullet is fired in the water, while it does slow down, it doesn't like they.
Yeah, your favorite James Bond.
Like that water. Yeah, that water must have been like really thick water because of it.
Like there were a bunch in that Bowery King scene. The one that I make note of is there's a guy who like I think it's in a doorway, and the guy just kind of comes around the corner, and Zero comes, and he does like a 3 or 4 hit combo of slices to the face, which would hurt a lot, obviously, and then he stabs him in the head just for good measure. That was so much like damage to like just your face and your head in one sequence. I thought that was pretty crazy.
That was some sword technique showing off.
Yeah, the Bowery King got it pretty bad too, like the 7 slices. I was like, wow, that was pretty crazy too.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention one of the favorite quotes from the movie was when Lawrence Fishburne is like, "Sometimes you got to cut a motherfucker" or something like that. he was really
straight
over
out
the
of
top.
Sam Jackson's.
Yeah. He was. I was like, what the hell is that? A Samuel Jackson line or something? But that was great. So I don't know do we want to give it to the book?
It's the eye or the book, or I guess the horse kicks are pretty. In terms of creativity or like shock value, those horse kicks were pretty crazy too. So, yeah, either one, anyone, whatever the chat votes on there.
Okay, so since we gave it to the first one, did the first one get topped? The first one, neck snap on the kitchen counter, because I feel like the book snap is like the spiritual successor to that move. So we'll see.
And like 1,000 times better.
It seems like every movie they're like, what other random object can John Wick kill a person with? So we had horses, we had book. It's weird to talk about this right when your daughter's on screen, but yeah.
She can't hear me with the headphones, but she's just too busy sticking her tongue out. All right, cool. So I think that's it. Unless there's any other favorite scenes that you guys want to mention or anything else we want to mention before we close this movie out. I did want to talk a little bit about Keanu Reeves and in the 2 movies we did before this, Speed and Point Break. Versus his portrayal in here. I feel like John Wick is a hella cool character. He does a lot of really cool stuff. Is very skilled, but I kind of like, I feel like he got to do a little more acting in movies like Speed and Point Break. I don't know. How do you feel, Rob? What do you think about his performance as John Wick?
Yeah, listen, this is the one thing we've always kind of said about Keanu Reeves is that if you were to do a, like, you know, you put in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then you skip a couple of years and you put in Point Break, and then you put in Speed, and then you do a couple other movies, then you do John Wick. They're all very similar. His cadence and tone, including The Matrix, are very similar in how he speaks. He's got his catchphrases, the way he says things, his mannerisms. And so I would agree he probably has a lot more dialogue in Point Break, in Speed, than he does in these movies. I don't know which one, if I'm ranking all 5, that would be pretty difficult, but I mean, for me, I would probably put, to be very honest with you, if I had to pick my top 3 would be, John Wick 1, Point Break, and then, John Wick 3. I'm a big fan of Point Break. So, but I think it has a lot to do with Keanu, with Patrick Swayze as well, right? Like that movie was just gold, right? So, but yeah, I mean, listen, Keanu Reeves is one of those actors who, what you see is what you get, and that's not detrimental to him as a person, right? Sometimes that can be detrimental to an actor, and it's not for him. And everybody's excited for Matrix 4. Everybody's excited for John Wick 4. Everybody's excited for whatever project he's in, whether it's Always Be My Maybe or the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Walk in the Clouds. I think we should extend 1 week and do Walk in the Clouds next week.
People love him. So
it's a great movie of a class of cultures, romantic setting.
Yeah, I think it's just with age. He's gotten a little better at delivering lines with age. Like I remember his older stuff. You kind of laugh at his delivery sometimes. He's kind of like spacing out things that shouldn't be spaced out, and he does have that surfer vibe. But in this one, he doesn't have much more to say, but his delivery is less. I guess I don't know why. I just remember like I know kung fu, like that whole jam in and Matrix kind of stiff the way he delivered that. Even his fighting style has gotten a lot better too. But I think it's just with age he's gotten better at delivering lines, I would think.
Yeah, well, definitely what the things that they're giving him to do, I think, is more they're kind of catering into what his strengths are. But I do like that he gets to talk a lot more and deliver a lot more kind of yes, right. No, we're not watching Ryan. Deliver more lines and more dialogue and stuff like speed, like the whole speech he gave that one guy. He's like, I'm putting away my gun. I'm not a cop anymore.
Just too cool, dude.
Stuff like that. There's nothing like of that length in these movies that I really took notice of.
It is kind of, I didn't, and I don't know if either of you or if anybody in the chat noticed this, but the John Wick, Keanu Reeves looked really tall in this movie. Like his fight scenes, he looked like he was always fighting guys that are about a foot lower, smaller than he was. Mm-hmm. He had really, I don't know if it was the way his suit pants were cut, but he always looked really lanky and like he was always hovering over them. But it is interesting though. But it is interesting though that Chris says like his fighting skills have improved because you can almost see some of the Matrix stuff in John Wick 3 more than you've seen in previous John Wick movies. And this is where I say like John Wick 1, I kind of reinvented that gung fu he used. And in this one, it was a lot more hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. Including he did a lot of slap to the head. Like he never had really any closed fists. There were a lot of chops to the back of the sides of people's heads and stuff like that. So
that was cool. Yeah, when the fight with the twins, I remember he did like this crazy suplex, like belly to belly suplex. Yeah. I was like, whoa, really using your size advantage on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like this is definitely a style that more suits him. The whole jujitsu kind of like close combat, using his weight and that kind of stuff, versus the Matrix, which was over the top. Almost Asian martial arts kind of style. So I think they're just choosing better things for him to do. If you watch Man from Tai Chi, I feel like they could have done a better job at giving him a martial arts style that was more suited for what he could do. Because he looks very stiff in that movie, even though I think he does a great job in that movie. But I think that's it. I think we should wrap up John Wick. Right? Yeah. Fantastic time. I was glad I could get a chance to rewatch it. I'm surprised that I never got a chance to rewatch 2 and 3 that much after. Thank you everyone for joining us for that. Hopefully you guys had fun with that. I don't know if is my mic okay now? I think my daughter turned.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have any. We've thrown out recommendations for the first one and the second one. I don't know if there's anything else we would want people to check out. I will shout out Street Kings again. If you haven't watched Street Kings, it's a lot of fun. Keanu Reeves plays a cop. He gets a lot more dialogue in it, and he is pretty not his typical self. He's a little bit of a darker character, and it's got Common in it, Hugh Laurie, like I said, Forrest Whitaker, Terry Crews, like Chris Evans. I feel like everybody was in this movie for some reason. But Rob, Chris, you guys got anything else you would say?
No, I can't think of anything like for a Keanu movie. I mean, I'm sure there's lots, but nothing that. No, I think. Listen, I also watched 47 Ronin a couple weeks ago, so I've had like 6 Keanu Reeves movies for the month of May. So we're good.
We're good for Keanu. So Rob, start cooking up some ideas, and I'll kick it to Chris. Sure. I think Chris is actually very familiar with Gordon shouts out Bass Rutten. I think me and Chris used to watch a lot of those. Dang it. Love that shit. So Chris, yeah. Chris, you got anything you would kind of throw out there?
You probably already mentioned it in the first one. I don't remember, but Extraction is a good one. If you haven't seen it, I think everyone's seen it. But the Netflix movie,
I haven't seen it actually.
Chris Hemsworth. It's done by the Russo brothers, and it's very much in the same vein as this. Yeah, a lot of military style action, and a lot of a close combat knife scene that's really good. straight out of like Winter Soldier with the part that you loved about that movie, John. So maybe you should check that out if you haven't.
Yeah.
Well,
Extraction.
And it's funny that Chris mentions that because Extraction is direct. Yeah, it's produced by the Russos, but it's directed by Chris Hemsworth's stunt performer, much like how John Wick and the trilogy here are directed by what was Keanu Reeves' stunt guy. And so movies directed by stunt guys, you can tell the way that they do certain things. And in Extraction, there is that scene, the driving scene where the camera goes right into the car. So yeah, you know what, Chris, it's a very good call. I watched it when it came out, but you know, in this day and age of Netflix and HBO and Crave and everything else, you start to forget about all the shit that you've watched in the past, right? So that's a good call. Extraction was really good with Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, good call, man.
All right, cool. Yeah, good shout out. I definitely have. Yeah, that was one of the ones that I just missed. I think it was just too violent for me to turn on when the kids are around. So I would definitely have to.
Definitely don't watch with the kids. But yeah, it's
put
good.
that on so I can we can maybe do a ranking of all the different Netflix movies and see which one is the best. Because that one seems to keep showing up at the top. Now that Army of the Dead is out, I don't know if that's going to change or not. Chris is probably going to shake his head. But okay, so that's it for that. Rob, you got any ideas for where we should go next, or anyone in the chat got ideas where we should go next?
Yeah, I got a couple things. We'll have to talk it offline, depending on what we want to do. Another full month of June, or maybe take a couple of weeks to do something different. So,
do something completely different.
We can deconstruct. We can deconstruct the ball scene in Casino Royale. You two guys need to be really infatuated and fixed on this.
Well, I was just laughing at how dumb it was, but John wants to really talk about more of it. So.
No, okay, well, we can save that. If we actually go and do that, I will entertain the idea of doing James Bond from Casino Royale and onwards, because the guys we're talking about, what's the other one? Skyfall, I guess, the one that made $1 billion or something like that. Yeah. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen it at all, so it'd be interesting.
Well, maybe that's the fall, because we got Daniel Craig's final outing as Bond in October or November. So
yeah. All right, cool. So we'll let there's been a couple people throwing some suggestions in the chat, so I guess we'll have to kind of talk this over a little bit more and think of something and see what we're gonna do. But
do a romantic comedy.
I was thinking that. I've got my Laserdisc here.
Yo, chat, what's your favorite romantic comedy you want these guys to watch?
Wow, that would be so off-brand. I feel like we would have to bring in a whole basically you would tune in next week and it'd be a completely different panel here. And it'd be just like what happened?
Guys, watch a romantic comedy. Go, guys, go.
I'll watch A Walk in the Clouds. I don't know if that's considered a romantic comedy. Rob, what's your favorite all-time romantic comedy? Is it Mean Girls?
Say anything.
Say anything? Oh, okay. So he's going old school. Do you have one off the top of your head, Chris?
I Love You, Man. I Love You, Man with Paul Rudd and
that's definitely more. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know if I was super thrilled with that one.
It's good. It's got Luke Briggs on it. It's good, man.
I don't think it's gonna happen, so I'm gonna throw out mine for the jokes of it. I would choose. I would really want to make you guys watch Walk in the Clouds, but with Keanu Reeves as a chocolate salesman in the traditional class of cultures rom-com.
I don't think Mean Girls is Mean Girls a romantic comedy? It's more of like
no, I don't think it is. Movie. I think that's what you call like a teen movie. We could
stop talking, Chris.
we should definitely like almost. It'd be funny if there was like all of a sudden like a complete swap in what was going on with but we'll entertain that. Okay, so
I don't think so.
we'll have to cook some stuff up. Thank you everyone for joining in. Get out of here, Gordon. I'm not gonna put that on the screen. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of Keanu Reeves. I definitely could go for more, but let's switch it up and we'll go with something else.
There's a reason why you guys
Williams.
You didn't do Matrix at all?
We're saving it for the potential next Matrix movie coming out. I don't know if we have to start doing. I guess Fast and the Furious is coming up next, and like Rob said,
you can do a Fast and the Furious rewatch.
Bond will come out eventually. Yeah,
we'll have to figure it out because this fall we've got the Matrix 4 coming out, we've got the Bond 25 coming out, and so those are, we've got 3 Matrix movies potentially to watch beforehand and 4 James. Maybe I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will come up with something good.
All right, fine, fair enough, Sarah. Although you wouldn't want to watch like a Mean Girls, era. I'm trying to think of what other movies would be in that.
I have an idea I have an idea. Maybe we'll do a female assassin movie. Maybe do a couple of weeks of female-driven assassin movies. Or
Black Widow.
To kind of lead into that, but we've got what was the one? Atomic Blonde, right? There's also Salt with Angelina Jolie. And maybe we can end something else. So maybe because Sarah is calling us sexist, maybe we have to pivot to pivot. Maybe we need to pivot to friends, some female action movies.
I don't know if we can watch Haywire anymore, but anyways.
Yeah, let's pass on that. It's not really even her voice. Let's also remember that it was dubbed. So,
all right, cool. We're gonna cook something up. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Heroes World Podcast news episodes every Sunday. Sidekick Show, you're with us tonight. So every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rob's got a brand new video dropping tomorrow. Yeah. And I'll so we talked about it. And Thursday, actually Thursday, if you are a fan of, I keep hitting the table, sorry guys, if you are a fan, when you watch on the playback, you'll be like, oh Jesus.
For emphasis,
this coming Friday, we see the release of Jeff Lemire's Sweet Tooth on Netflix. So just a quick hint, on Thursday I'm going to be recommending some other Jeff Lemire books that you can pick up from Heroes World. So that's Thursday, and tomorrow will be the James Bond comic books, not movies.
Ooh. And if there's a Spider-Man trailer, look out for a reaction from this panel maybe.
Yep. It'll be like this. All right. Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, cool. Thank you very much again. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Chris, for jumping in. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.
Whoa.